And on Sunday, I was doing a little experiment with the Muse headband and doing a test to see when I was when the phone was sitting there and I wasn't touching the earthing mat, which is the first one, and then after that it was that I was touching the earthing mat, and then I think after that I put the phone on the earthing mat and touched it, and I did one where I was standing up, and I noticed that the left temporal lobe is more active when standing up, and then I was standing on the earthing mat, and I don't really remember which ones are which, unfortunately, so I have to go back and redo that. But I was also testing if I touch the metal part of this Schumann wave device that I got years and years ago. And that had an effect for sure. But again, I don't remember which one it is. So they're not that useful, but there was a definite effect with the Schumann device. And I don't even know if I took a screenshot of one of those because it increased the brain waves and it was hard to take a screenshot and hold on to that Schumann device at the same time. But I'm going to try another one at some point where I listen to some kind of brain waves and then see what happens on the Muse headband to see if those have some kind of effect. I brought the Muse headband with me for my trip because maybe I'll do some experiments. I don't know if I'll be able to take any videos while I'm doing the breath work, but I'll try and talk to myself after at some point. And I'm just hoping that it doesn't activate something that gets out of hand. If it does, I will be ready to take extra Seroquel to calm it down. But it'll be interesting, I think. I don't really know what to expect. I'm a little bit nervous about it. But it's time to try this. I've been thinking about it for a while. So I'm going to take a different approach, which is not so much the molecules and things like that. Though I'm thinking about getting N-acetylcysteine and coenzyme Q10, because CoQ10 is for the heart, and the distress I feel is in the heart. And I feel this energy, this spinning energy that I got acquainted with when I was in California. It's there more like all the time, and it really moves my body. I was standing there yesterday, and the vortex was in sort of my sacral region, and it was moving my body. I was standing there, and it's quite a big circle. And I was thinking about how some people who are on long-term antipsychotics develop this sort of shuffle where they go on one leg to the other and one leg to the other. And I think that this moving energy might have something to do with that. There's no way I can really prove it, but it just came to mind that people are shifting their weight from side to side because there is this vortex of energy happening. And I don't know if it has something to do with Kundalini or what, but I've also felt it spinning right at the base of my body and also in my heart, and it started like grinding in my brain. Another weird thing is my car is sort of vibrating as if it is affected by this energy field. And I'm wondering if when this sensation of this energy field thing stops, if my car will stop feeling like it's out of alignment or something. I remember reading something about how what happens with our car is kind of what's happening with us. And that's been interesting over the couple of years since I've known that. So yeah, disjointed things. It's hard to put things together and it's hard to remember. And one thing I do remember is that I noticed in my videos, the few that I watched a bit of, that whenever I say I'm going to do something, like I'm going to practice this or do this every day, or I'm going to try and get good at this, I never do it. So I don't want to project any more patterns like that. I'm sort of wondering, and I'm still curious about living in a bipolar way, as in just getting up in the morning, getting ready, and living by synchronicity, just sort of wandering around and seeing what kind of life gets created by that. And instead of trying to fix this bipolar thing, start living according to how it would make me live. And I've talked about this before, but now that I've had this other crisis that's been pretty bad, really troubling, I see the necessity for that more. And I talked about lifestyle design and designing a life and then a trip, so I'm still kind of in alignment with wanting to see what happens with that. Out of, I don't know if it's desperation or necessity, I also calculated that the next crisis, if it's every 8 months, could be in the summertime, which never usually happens, so it probably would be beforehand. So I'll have to watch out for April, because I did spend the whole of April in the psych ward in 2016. So 2018, I'll have to watch out for that. I might not be able to stretch it to 8.5 months because of how it seems to fall apart. Not in the summertime. So, yeah. There's other things I might try. I might just try and switch to lithium orotate cold turkey. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I'm still leaning towards staying on meds. Well, this situation, my living situation is the way it is. It's possible that the business course will help, or maybe I won't be inspired to do it. And it's possible that having access to an infrared sauna will be really good because it'll keep my body warm. And yeah. Da, 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 da. I'm at the ferry now and I got a burrito. So I forgot to talk about how on Sunday I did coherence breathing for the first time in a while, and it was pretty hard to stay in coherence. And Also, I noticed that my heartbeat was quite squiggly. Usually it's nice and smooth, but yeah, it's definitely quite not steady right now. And another thing I might try is going to see a shaman of some kind, and I found one in the city I'm staying in. I'm not sure about different types of shamans and things like that, but this one at least is close by, and I'd like to meet up with one in person. So when I get back, I might try that. I'm gonna try some of these magical type things and then get on to the work of resolving things. And I do hope I make it through this bit of holotropic breathwork. I'm kind of nervous. I'm nervous that it'll open up the floodgates. And worst would be activating the suicide program. But I'm partly excited about it because when I was first taken to the hospital 6.5 years ago, I was in a holotropic breathing state. And I might have said this recently, but I forget because my memory just stinks. And that's one of the reasons why I'll say, oh, I'm going to do this and practice that, and I never do because I forget that I said that. So I was in a holotropic state, breathing very rhythmically. I don't even know what holotropic breathing is like from doing it with a practitioner, but I did just go into that state spontaneously years ago. It was rhythmic. It was like, but faster, a little bit faster, but it was same amount of time breathing in as breathing out. So I'll find out if that's the type of breathing pattern this practitioner has me do. And there is a chance that this could be life-changing or something that more people like me could utilize to get some form of relief. I know that Sean Blackwell has his own type of bipolar breath work, and he helps people. And sometimes it'll take a couple of retreats. So I don't think 3 sessions is going to do the trick per se, but it'll give me an idea of whether it's something worth pursuing to resolve some of this quantum weirdness. And if it doesn't resolve the quantum weirdness, I might need to go into learning more about the quantum weirdness and maybe purposely trying to go into it instead of avoiding it. Perhaps the problem is avoiding it. Really not sure. But I keep on going. I keep on trying to discover. And over this last year, I've done mostly a lot of talking, just making stuff up. But now it's time to go back into some old facts.